Hey all, Paul from Drums and Rums, where the backbeats meet the spirits. In this episode, we're away from the drum shack again, and as part of our Rummer Time series. It was our first podcast recorded live outside, and we were out on the patio of the new Twisted Tuna in Jupiter, Florida. On this podcast, our guest is Brad Brock, singer, songwriter, and host of the Jams and Cocktails podcast. Brad is a one-man band where he plays in a unique drum set with his feet rather than using a drum track for his shows. This setup provides a truly full band sound. Brad's sound and style has been described as a mix of Cat Stevens, Tom Petty, and Jack Johnson. You can catch his weekly live podcast on Wednesday nights streamed on YouTube and Facebook, where he interviews local musicians and they perform some of their original music. Big props to Brad for helping promote local music and helping keep the music scene here in South Florida area going. I'd like to thank the Twisted Tuna owners Kenny and Rochelle for letting us take over their patio. Stephanie, our server, and their entire staff. Also thanks to fellow local musician Chris Springer, good friend to Brad and I, as well as Johnny Ringo, owner of Code Rum, for sitting in on the podcast. Here's our opening track from Brad Brock, Unrequited.
The song's called Unrequited. Situation. I'm blind, she don't see it out on the mountains, put the signs up, everything. She pushes by me lines, it doesn't feel a thing. This one-sided attraction is so cold. I can't feel my beat anymore. It's amazing that after all this time, you're right, still I'm not divine. There's a misunderstanding, I'm mistaken, will she taking a couple more steps towards me, leaves out forever, push pace to my side. Cold wind blowing, she asked me for a light. Oh, this one-sided attraction is so cold. I can't feel my beat anymore. It's amazing that after all this time, you're right, you still have not been high. I know this how her fingertips wrap around her ass and bring it to her lips. Such a son of love's patient. I wish that you would say one time about your place or mine. That would be fine. Oh, this one-sided attraction is so cold. I can't feel my beat anymore. It's amazing that after all this time, you're right, you still have not been right. This one-sided attraction is so cold. I can't feel my beat anymore. It's amazing that after all this
She was there Saturday. Key lime also makes the best Bloody Marys ever. So,
Yeah, man. The code key lime is out of sight. It's my favorite.
It sucked, you know, with all the lockdown in Key West. I was wanting to go down there during the summer.
Right.
And then my wife knew there was an ulterior motive to, you know, visit different places, and she's like, you just want to do a thing for the podcast, you know. It's like, all right. And then it turned into, oh, let's go to the mountains. Okay, let's go to the mountains. What's in Georgia? And actually, there was a distillery in just Georgia, and it was like,
Awesome.
who would have thought, right? But
So good.
all right, so we'll go ahead and get started here. So, hey all, today's guest on the Drums and Rums podcast is Brad Brock, singer, songwriter, host of the Jams and Cocktails podcast. We met through our mutual friend, Chris Springer, present. And when I heard that he's a brand ambassador for Code Rum, and with us today also is Johnny Ringo, owner of Code Rum. Brad performs a plethora of percussion as a one-man band entertainer, and I say we gots to meet. Gots to meet. So Brad performs an eclectic mix of pop, blues, reggae, original tunes arranged in his unique one-man band style. He does it all live. Guitar, drums, harmonica, sings, also creating a bass guitar
Yes.
track as well. 3-part harmonies for one guy. That's a lot of you.
Yes. I get that a lot.
And through his effects and to create a truly live band sound, all using backing tracks and loops. Every song is performed 100% live. His sound and style has been described as a mix of Cat Stevens, Tom Petty, and Jack Johnson.
Yeah.
nailed it.
He's also performed in many venues around Florida, including the world-famous Square Grouper, a.k.a. where they filmed that video about 5 o'clock or something.
Yeah, there's some time on the clock.
Brad's
Happy hour video.
Yeah, some happy hour video by that guy.
Brad's also performed around the world on Holland America, Disney, and Princess cruise ships. Brad's weekly live podcast, which is on Wednesday nights at 8 o'clock, showcases local musicians and drops some musical knowledge in interactive segments and with his Facebook and YouTube viewers. Welcome, Brad.
Yeah, finally.
Yes.
It's so good to be here, Paul. Finally.
Yes, I know. I think we've only been talking about it forever, and I think actually we'll say it's all Chris's fault, right?
Right, for
he,
sure.
Bring it on, Chris.
He had started, I think earlier in the year, maybe end of last year, maybe, but some time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
Right.
He said, yeah, my buddy Brad's got a similar kind of idea podcast, something, and I said, all right, well, we got to check it out and we hook up. So I think we finally got a chance to meet and connect and so forth, start watching the podcast, and definitely damn entertaining. So there's,
Well, thank you.
it's
Drums and Rums and Jams and Cocktails.
That's right, we're-
man.
Right,
It's
I
a match
feel-
made in heaven.
Yeah,
like living together in harmony.
when worlds collide. So when I heard, hearing about, because I think I've known your name around the area, just hadn't had a chance to check out, and as I did my looking you up there on stalking you on Facebook, it's like, well, damn, he's got a whole little show going on here with drum stuff, right? And
Most people look for him on the booking blotter. Like, what's Brad up to? Oh,
well, who knows what it'll be after tonight, right? Yeah,
That's fair. That's fair to assume.
You are over the county line in the 561, right? Yeah. So.
don't let anybody know that. And
Wait, we're not live, right?
Yeah, no. It's all Memorex.
Oh, not to interrupt, but the really important part of this is coming
Here
to
we
us
go.
right now.
Thank you.
Because we can't have a Drums and Rums podcast without a rum cocktail. Thank you so much.
Of course.
You did that pretty good. You sure you don't want to sit down and join us?
I wish I could.
Garrett, he won't mind.
We have some clout. We have some pool
You're
here.
getting after a server here.
No problem.
Is that cool?
Good luck with that.
Probably won't struggle.
If anybody, she can take you guys.
Fair enough.
Oh, you've apparently seen us in action, huh?
I've seen her feisty side.
All right, cheers.
Cheers, fellas.
Cheers,
All
guys.
right.
To Drums and Rums.
Drums and Rums.
Oh, and waterproof phones.
Yes. It's about time they finally came out with that, right?
Right. Put Otterbox out of business.
Now everybody's gonna sound drunk.
So we're here doing our podcast today. We're out in nature. We're outside at the new Twisted Tuna here in Jupiter, Florida. So
Brand new. They
brand
just
new place.
opened.
I don't think the grand opening yet, right? Not yet.
No, but they officially opened last week. Yeah.
Soft, yeah.
Mhm.
So there goes our win. So but it is Florida. So we do have.
It's a
Lots of-
win-win.
Yeah, that's right. But oh, this is. I have a feeling this is going to be a really entertaining podcast here. So.
Well, you should have known this coming into it.
So, we'll jump right into it here, Brad. All right. So, since your performance, you're putting drummers out of business because you're like, I don't need no stinking drummer or whatever. Describe your percussion stage setup.
Well, I'll tell you, drummers have been getting put out of business since the 80s when the drum machine came around. So it's been a struggle for them all the way. Ringo's a drummer. Chris is a beatboxer. So my setup, the idea was to avoid pre-recorded or drum machines or anything entirely. So I put together what the setup is currently is I play a 3-piece drum kit with my feet. So that's 3 pieces, snare, kick, floor tom, plus a crash cymbal and a ride cymbal that I play with my ring finger on my right hand it's bolted into my guitar. I'm able to, my rudimentary beats that I can come up with while I'm also trying to strum guitar, pretty believable as a drummer just coming out of training, coming out of drum lessons.
I couldn't figure out how he could do all that. And then I learned that at 6 months old, he could pat his head and rub his stomach. Yeah.
Which is funny because I didn't even know I could do that.
That's the sign.
No, so that's pretty interesting. So how did you come up with that? How did you that setup though?
It was definitely a labor of love, and it was not like a coming out of the gate and going with that setup. It started when I quit performing on cruise ships. I basically didn't play music at all for 2 years. I was burnt out. But when I started getting back into it, I was like, okay, I'm never just going to sit and play guitar again. I can't live that life. So I started adding percussion things. So it started with a little tambourine that I strapped to my foot. And after I figured that out, I was like, okay, I got a cajon, a little wood box, then a little kick drum pedal. And I was like, okay, now I could do boop, bop, boop, bop, boop, bop. And then I was like, okay, well, what do I do now? So I got a snare drum and put it in, strapped it to some Tupperware so it like wouldn't fall over. And I got another drum pedal and was hitting that. Still had the tambourine on my foot, so I had that
Never
going.
sneak up on anybody.
Yeah, right.
Making all kinds of noise. And then when I realized that I was running out of channels on my mixing board and limbs, I was like, okay, somebody had mentioned to me about maybe looking at an electronic drum kit. And I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot. So I bought an electronic drum kit, and that changed the game, because then I realized that I was able to put any kind of sounds, or it was just the only limit was my physical ability to hit triggers, drum triggers. Right. And so, yeah, it went from that to where it is now.
So do you get a lot of people that see you perform and they're kind of like very like, I don't want to say amazed and to diminish any of your accomplishments or talents, but I mean, do you have a lot of folks that are like?
It's interesting because the whole goal is to sound legitimate. You know, you got a lot of guys, a lot of one-man band guys that, you know, they're blues guys and they come out with the big kick drum and the snare drum and they're amazing what they do. It's obvious that they are playing these instruments.
Right.
My goal was to do something more pop-based or be able to play more pop tunes with more intricate drum rhythms that sound like it's being played by a legitimate drummer.
Right.
The digital kit's able to do that because any way I smack those triggers, it sounds like a perfect drum hit.
Yep.
So it's amazing. A
Very
lot of
forgiving.
people have no idea or assume that I'm playing with tracks. So I'm always thrilled when people come and inquire because I can tell them, no, it's not tracks. It's you know, this is all mechanical.
Right.
So, and that was just, you know, the learning curve. And I always say I get my cardio in for every show. Never have to go to the gym. I probably should go to the gym.
Any takers?
So do you got to go through any typical drummer woes when performing live? Any broken sticks, or is that a issue
Oh
for
my
you?
God, all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. Triggers malfunction. I've put so many holes because I play with some of the drum pads are mesh.
Okay.
They have mesh heads, and I'll put the beater straight through it. A couple of the pedals that I use actually have a drum stick as the beater, which is really, really cool. It escapes me now the guy that makes them, but yeah, so it's not quite an abrupt hit. It's more of a natural hit. So the heads are able to kind of handle that. Because before I was just using regular kick drum beater heads and just punching holes and everything, or knocking the electronics out inside the. I've had to replace so many of the pickups, the trigger pickups in there. So I was like, okay, something's got to give. So yeah, that happens. Drum pedals break constantly. You gotta.
His calves are the size of baby cows. I mean, look at this guy's calf.
Moo.
Is that why you wore shorts today?
Yeah, you know, I got to show off what I got.
That's the trick. I gotta.
I didn't wear shorts because it's 130 degrees out today.
Like, I'm not an actual drummer. This is just exercise.
You're going to the gym, I'm going to the drum.
Going to the drum.
Yeah, it definitely is a workout, especially if you're you play double bass, and it's just in general, it's a good workout. And sometimes during this whole pandemic, it was just past weekend, I got a chance to play live with other people again, and you know, it's
all good, huh?
yeah, nothing can replace that. You know, I mean, yeah, you can do it online and all this. It's
You can only play with yourself for so long.
yes, until you go blind.
Until you go
Who said that?
So Brad, how long were you performing before you went off to sea?
Oh my goodness. A decade or more at
Okay.
that point. I started playing music when I was 14 years old professionally. I got into my first. I was doing like the fair circuit, singing to tracks. I was aspiring Garth Brooks. So I had my Stetson hat, my Wrangler jeans, and my wispy mustache. They're around.
Wow.
I was a lot thinner back then. The pants fit a lot better when I realized I was filling out because, you know, beer and rum. Yeah, so I played with the Brad Brock and the Renegades band for years around town, actually a lot around here, just up the street at Uncle Mick's.
Okay.
Was one of our hot spots, and yeah, so I did that for ages. I took a little break, went to college, moved to Orlando, played in Orlando in a band for a long time, and yeah, so right around 2010, I was working with an agent up there, and some of the gigs were starting to dry up, and I was like, well, what else can I do? I was like, I had some really like nice high-end cushy gigs, and it was great, but like when one of those gigs went out, it was like a third of my income went down. So I was like, well, I can't live this life anymore. So my agent said, why don't you like audition for cruise ships, and the rest is history at that point.
What made you go from, if I may,
Go for it.
what made you go from like primarily country to doing what you're doing now with the pop? I don't think I've ever asked you that.
It was kind of a burnout situation. Like I was just kind of burnout. Like we played 3 nights a week, every week, and it was always the same like line dance set, you know, because we were just a line dance band. So we showed up so that dancers could dance to live music.
And
And
Garth Brooks was getting jealous.
And Garth Brooks was getting jealous. He said he
Getting
can't.
a cease and desist.
Yeah, pretty much.
You're stealing my look.
But yeah, I had never just been country, you know.
Wear a cowboy hat.
So it was kind of nice once I got out of that rut. It wasn't a rut.
Right.
It was a wonderful time. But once I was able to explore other genres of music and other clothing styles and choices, yeah, I loved like the music at that time. It was the early 2000s,
Right.
90s, all that 90s stuff, which I still play a lot in my sets today. And then cruise ships was really that big left turn, because I discovered a whole collection of music I'd never even thought about playing, because people request songs, and so my song list over the years doing that just exploded.
Right.
You know, like Sweet Caroline, greatest song ever written.
I've never heard that song.
You know, it's amazing. You should listen to it. You should listen to it 8,000 times, because then you'll get a true feel of that. No, I'm just kidding.
I'll go
It's a
to
great
Key West
tune.
and listen to it.
Good party song. But yeah, I had never even heard of that song before in my life until one night on a cruise ship, somebody was like, "Hey, you, can you play Sweet Caroline?" That's why they all sound on Holland America line ships, at least back then.
Have you ever heard the Irish Kevin's version of that? They got it
I haven't.
down there in Key West.
I have it. I can't. Key West, I need to like go down there and just not drink. That's
Oh, that's funny.
Wow.
so I can like, I don't know, remember anything.
Yeah.
So what was it like, I guess, performing at sea, you know, on the ships and that whole...
Well, it had its ups and downs.
It was rocking.
But
You know, I used to call the cruise ships the hamster wheel on the sea, because you'd wake up in a new place every day, but in the same bed, and that's the only way to travel, as far as I'm concerned.
Right.
Great experience. I met a lot of really, really great people. Some that I'm still really, really great friends with. Just a couple years ago, one of my best friends now on Earth, I met her on a cruise ship. Me and my girlfriend went to their wedding. We were invited to their wedding. I was in the wedding party.
Wow.
I was on her side of the wedding party, so I was wearing a tux, and it was awesome.
Did it feel weird being at a wedding that you didn't crash? I mean, that was unique.
It felt weird being at a wedding where I was the one with an accent. Because it was in England. I guess I should have said that. But yeah, so we went to England, and it wasn't even like London, England. It was like in the country where they don't hear American accents ever. We were celebrities. It was awesome.
They love the accent.
Yep.
Yep. So yeah, because when you've been on a cruise ship, it's you look at the folks that work on the ship, and it's a different, I guess, experience for depending on what your role is on the ship, right?
Absolutely.
Obviously, if you're the captain or the guys running the ship, it's a different, maybe even amenities, right?
Yeah.
The folks that are like doing a lot of laundry, But then, from what I can tell, the last ship that I was on, it was the guy in the piano bar, and he's also, he's got his professional and original stuff, and it seemed like they had a little bit more time, because obviously you're not performing nonstop, right? So I mean, what was your I guess, not say like what you got paid, but like your timing was. I mean, you working
I'll tell
5
you.
hours, 10 hours.
It was grueling. It was grueling. I would go and play my 2-hour show in the evening, and then I'd have to go and eat, and then go to the crew bar, and I'd have to sit in that crew bar and drink myself to sleep every night.
Wow.
Just to be able to get up and then go to the gym and eat breakfast and go onto port and do whatever I want, and then come back.
Sounds like a horrible.
Do you have your own
Come back in
boss's number?
just enough time to play my 2-hour show. No, it was some ships, like the entertainer schedule, especially for soloists. We would do our 2-hour shows in the evening. Maybe we do a pool set, an extra pool set if we were at sea traveling.
You have like 1 gig a day?
Yeah, 1 or 2 gigs. Yeah, it was awesome. But like for some cruise lines, you work every single day for months. Like it's a gig every day for months on end. And I worked for a Disney Cruise Line, and they would give me a day off during the week. So every 7 days, I would get a day off, which was great because sometimes it's nice to just rest your voice and do all that. And at the time, I wasn't doing the one-man band show. At the time, it was just playing guitar and singing. So, but yeah, we always say entertainers are the royalty on the ships. We really get away with a lot.
Cool. It's different, and I think that is the routine, right? I think that's something that if you've done military service or you've done something like that, you're away from home, away from all the other things you got, but yet you're in, like I said, you'll wake up, do this, wake up, do this. Now again, you might be at different ports every day and so forth, but no, that's pretty. So what made you want to get out? You just,
exactly what you just said.
Yeah.
Complete monotony. Yeah. The idea that I literally had nothing at home. I had no possessions really aside from my gear. Like I sold everything to go out there. So I'd come home and I'd blow through all my money renting a car or like going on trips. It was just, it was time. I was getting older at that point, and I was like, I kind of want things. I kind of want to have some McDonald's. And I did. I had the McDonald's, and look at me now. But no, I just wanted to switch it up. I was tired. I was kind of getting jaded at the management style, like kind of any job. It became more of a job with managers and bosses. And I was like, okay, well, I'm not really into it. And the industry was changing because it was right on the cusp of the Costa Concordia sinking. And that changed everything on cruise ships for crew members. Right. All of a sudden I went from, I was just a guitar player that, basically the town drunk, to now they're giving me safety functions and teaching me how to drive the lifeboats. And I was like, I'm not the guy. I'm definitely not the guy for this.
I'm surprised they let you drive a car.
So they're all relying upon you to save their lives.
It's probably not good.
Right.
Definitely, yeah, much safer in somebody else's care.
Yes. All right, so let's talk about the podcast from your inception to where it's currently at and where you want to take your podcast to.
Yeah, well, Jams and Cocktails, man. Really, it started as a way to... it actually started with a conversation I had with my sister at lunch. And she was like, you should consider getting into live streaming. And she was talking about Twitch and everything. She's like, people like make a bunch of money and whatever. And I was like, well, I don't know if anybody's going to pay to see what I do. I was like, but it sounds kind of fun. So it started with just me sitting in a room playing guitar, taking requests. And it was cool. It was good. And then I was like, well, wouldn't it be cooler if I had some guests on and we could talk about whatever? And so my first guest that I ever wanted to have on what I was tentatively calling Jams and Cocktails at the time was supposed to be Ringo, but he was sick. And so I just sat in my office in my house and drank a bunch of rum and played some songs and talked with everybody tuning in.
Which is why I was sick, because I did that the night before. Not really, no, just kidding.
It was a shit show. And so a couple weeks later, Ringo was feeling better, so we did it again, and I set it all up out in my dining room in my house. And that was really, I would imagine, the first time it was a podcast-type talk show. And so I played a couple songs, we talked about rum, we talked about everything.
How long did they go on for?
That episode...
It was supposed to be, how long
it was supposed to be like, it was supposed to be for 2 hours.
How long did they go on for?
4.5 hours. Yeah. And
Time flies when you're having rum.
We had a lot. That thing, if you guys want to pop over and check out Jams and Cocktails, if you go to see like our archived audio, it's hilarious, some of the older shows, because I had no idea what I was doing.
It's evolved.
At all. And so then it just started to evolve.
Yeah.
And we went through a couple things like that, and it was sporadic. It wasn't consistent. we were trying things. I was working out new gear and audio equipment and just really cutting my teeth figuring it out. And so at the top of the year, or just before the new year,
And he had been experimenting since college.
it's true. It's true. College.
Does that go nights?
Yeah,
Cold nights, days, didn't matter.
it didn't matter. So I, at the end of the year, a buddy of mine, Austin, took me aside and he was like, "Hey man, I watch your show whenever it goes live." He's like, "I love it." He's like, "I think there's massive potential in putting something together." He's like, "You just have to be more consistent." He's like, as somebody who listens to podcasts or watches live streams, I want to know when it's going to happen, when it's coming on. And I was like, "You're right." And so the next day I called my agents, or all the various ones that I work with, and said, "Wednesdays are no longer ever good for me ever again. Don't even call me for Wednesdays." And I committed to every Wednesday night bringing a live stream show to life. And it started still in my dining room. First episode was at the first Wednesday of the year, and it was in my dining room, and it was just, I had like this tabletop beer pong set, and it was me and my musical guest playing little beer pong, doing shots, and we were getting annihilated. And I was like, okay, well, this is not sustainable for me because I have to work on Thursday every day. And so after about 3 episodes of that nonsense, my girlfriend was like, "I'm tired of having this in my dining room every day or every week." She's like, "If you clear out the garage, if you clean it up, you can have it." So I turned my whole garage into a man cave / broadcast studio, and she joined the show because she was like, "This is cool, I want to be out here." And I was like, "Told you." And
it kept you out of the dining room.
it kept me out of the dining room. And so we started having guests in there and adding to our decor and really focusing on the visual aspect of our show and the live aspect of the show, which is not something you find in a lot of podcasts, is that uncut live thing. So we really wanted to do a focus on that and interact with our guests. And here we are 36 weeks later in 2020, and we haven't missed a single show. We've brought live content, better or worse, to our friends and family and people tuning in consistently, and we continue to do that. So
every Wednesday since the beginning of the year. This is where I guess this is the 36th week in the year.
I guess so. Who's counting, really?
It almost seems like you're
Google.
It almost seems like it's your 21st show was not that long ago, but
I
guess
know.
it's
And it's funny to
15
like,
weeks ago if you do the math.
yeah.
That's right.
I look back.
You're
and,
good.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Can we do 4 Jaeger bombs?
My God.
Wait, no. What are we doing? I'm sorry. I'm like 23.
No, take it over.
Yeah, let's
What'd you say?
let's
Not
do
sex
it.
on the beach.
Let's do that,
You know,
Chris
that-
Springer.
Jaeger bomb is what I was going for.
Dude, just do it.
Yep. Let's do it.
Yeah.
All right. Drums and Rums and Jaeger bombs.
Well done, Brad.
But no, so the podcast, it really, the weeks go by so quick now, and I have like such a rhythm. So when the show ends, I have my editing day the next day, and then I can take a little break, and then Sunday night or even on Monday, I work on preparing for my next guest and making sure that the room is set up for what they require, like green M&Ms and Johnny Walker Blue. Because Chris Springer was one of our guests, and he had those particular requests.
Gotta
But
have
yeah,
it.
so now we're kind of have a rhythm, and it's nice, and the studio is now kind of, we call it the lounge because it really is, but it's kind of where I like it now, and it's not such a big hassle to set it up and break it down.
Right.
But yeah.
So, have you thought of how much time do you actually put in a week into the show? All of that.
Definitely a lot more time than I should. I'm just kidding. I would definitely say that I put hours into prep. I would say probably at least 8 solid hours over the course of a few days. Getting graphic works done and things like that. Whenever you do a visual-based anything, it just requires a lot of that.
Right.
You're
But
a beast with that stuff, man. With that.
yeah, thankfully now.
graphics.
In the beginning, it went from 8 hours to like 16 hours, double time. And now I have all my templates done, and it's really just kind of plug and play, and I know what I like. But yeah,
Well, you guys know it's like anything. The more you put into it, the more you get out.
yeah, absolutely.
So it shows that the end product shows that you put the effort into it. You're not just winging it and just trying to get something out there. You're taking it. You're putting your time in.
Yeah, and
It's awesome.
And it's it gets easier. So I feel like it's like I'm almost like there got to a point where I was like, I almost felt like I wasn't doing enough
It's
because it was getting done so
you weren't
quickly.
trying as hard.
Yeah, and I was like, oh my gosh, just a few weeks ago I was like struggling right up to go time.
Right.
So it becomes more of a well-oiled machine as it goes, and I have some more people involved in the production now, which is a lot more helpful. So it's fun. It's fun and it's rewarding to me to present local entertainers.
And if we had time, we would introduce all the staff. All you guys.
Yes,
in
in the
but
back that
maybe
you guys
next
can't
show.
see. We're here.
Billy B. Brock's out there.
Billy B. Brown. Hey Billy.
Hey, Brad. So where do you want to take the show? What are we talking about here?
Well,
If somebody
To the
came,
moon, baby.
if somebody was whether it was like local or something, and a bigger, I know YouTube has become a very large platform. They do production on their own movies and so forth, or TV shows. But what do you see it? Because I think really, this show is very well put together, and like I said, it takes get there. I think where you're at now, you could be on a local channel here, like kind of like a la, I don't know what channel is anymore, but like the Real Radio, right?
Right,
I think
sure.
you could do a show on there for 3 hours, couple
We
Yeah.
know
hours.
that 94.3.
Yeah,
Yeah.
94.3. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's really the goal. I'm not looking for a particular platform per se. I would go anywhere.
Right.
The idea is, and has always been, to offer a audience to people that might not necessarily have one, to talent entertainers that might not necessarily have a audience.
Right.
So currently, right now, as in any fledgling thing like this, we rely on our guests to bring an audience to introduce us to them. Obviously, on the flip side of that, or the end goal is to have an audience to show and share with our guests.
Right.
You guys,
Excuse us.
you dropped something.
That was quick.
Don't mind, we're only on national television here, but don't mind.
Oh,
But don't mind
now
us.
you're breaking everything.
How'd that work out? I'd hate to see you get loud.
You guys
That's
are
okay.
fine.
We've got some guests. We've got some guests here. We're gonna see a real bitchin' game of Connect Four.
Oh boy.
This keeps getting better though.
It's just falling apart.
Did you guys read the instructions?
No, we just figure it out as we go, man.
There it is.
There they are. You're singing here live, folks.
Live on the podcast.
Welcome to the Grammys.
Welcome to the Grand.
That was better than a TikTok video.
Just have me tell them to keep it down. Up.
Garrett to the
Security's here.
rescue.
Security's here. Garrett, did you put them up to this?
Oh boy, they need some super glue. Hey, y'all need some super glue over there.
Wait, I gotta
Garrett.
go.
I got some super glue.
Hey, Garrett, can you guys get them some crayons or something, bro?
I got some super glue. We can put that thing right back together. No problem. Yes, she knows what's going on. No bother.
No bother?
Watch the lights.
I'll put him over here.
No bother.
Yeah, right
You know
over
we can
here.
still see you.
Right over there by Johnny.
You like scratch this out, right?
No, this is live.
Why?
We're
I can't believe you.
broadcasting
We're gonna make you
live from Real Radio.
Oh, live radio.
Yeah.
No, don't. It's none of your business. No.
They're the love
They
dogs.
get paid.
That's
okay?
Rich. Glenn. Oh no, that's Billy. Billy B.
Billy B.
That's
brought.
Glenn over there. I'm Dano.
Oh man,
Perfect.
this is going real well.
I actually did a show on Real Radio for a while, didn't I?
did?
Thanks, gentlemen. I'm sorry.
I did
You
a
guys are
radio
fine.
show on 94.3.
If I was on no worries at all.
and Rums podcast. This
Thank
is
you, guys.
exactly how I wanted to go. Just
This
If
episode is
what?
called Rums and Rums
Rums.
and Jaeger Bums.
No, we got drumsticks, dude.
Okay,
Somebody's gonna play on this thing.
let's get
There
through
you
this
go.
interview for the love of God.
It's not gonna be me, that's for sure.
And don't forget about your cocktail shrimp. Coconut shrimp.
No, I can't do
You
it.
can't have cocktail shrimp without cocktails. Can you? I just
Cannot.
put that on a pillowcase.
They've been on my pillowcase in 1973. Sharp marker. I just wrote it on there.
Back when they didn't have pillowcases.
Who need a pillowcase?
Paul's he still alive?
Oh,
Ish.
live-ish.
I know something to do with the rotation on it.
I'm sorry, but
We got
I only had
500
my
viewers right now.
cheapo Amazon Basics.
500 people. Oh no, Lord Jesus. Lord Jesus, look what's coming our way. Oh, Johnny Ringo. Remember the last time that we did a Jaeger bomb together?
Of course I don't.
Me neither.
How would I?
I know that we woke up behind the jukebox.
Oh, that time.
You remember that time we played footsie in the bar and then we knocked each other over?
No, you fell down. Did I fall down?
You fell down as well. We were on the ground.
That was Tiki Bass.
You got back up. I did not get back up.
For 2 weeks, you didn't get up.
I'm gonna hand that to you.
I lost the whole weekend of my life that weekend.
It's Key Largo, Florida. I'll never forget it.
I lost a month that night.
That's a good night.
It was a
Hopefully it was a bad month.
Thank you. What's your name?
I'm Stephanie.
Stephanie, I'm Brad. This is
Hi,
Ringo,
Brad.
Chris, Paul.
Chris and Paul.
Thank
Good
you,
to meet
Stephanie.
You all. You're a fun gang.
That
Well,
rhymes.
thank you very
We're
much.
trying.
Bottoms up.
We're trying. All right, Facebook Live. You don't need to hear this to know what's going on.
What? Chris and Paul, fun to meet you all.
She's a poet. She didn't know it.
Oh, you took it right out of my mouth. That's what she
Maybe-
said.
Maybe that's her thing. It's like part of the. She rhymes. She's like a.
She rhymes. I like it.
Cheers, your son's guns.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. Is that what you do? You just dump it in there? Do you?
I'm not dumping mine in there. What do you guys dumping in your beer? What'd you have? A beer there?
No,
I don't have
it's,
a beer. So
it's the Jaeger.
It's
over there.
the Red Bull.
It's a Jaeger
It's a
bomb.
Jaeger bomb. You gotta do it.
There you go. Yeah, I'll champion.
Jeez, just waiting for us, Brad.
Once you pour, you can't stop. I don't think that's how it goes.
Billy B. Brad.
Billy B. Brock, reporting live
Billy B. Brock.
for the Twisted Tuna here in Jupiter, Florida. Look at us.
Look at us. Look at you.
Look at the face. I look like I'm dying.
Well, not you, but Billy B. Brock is.
Billy B. Brock. Kenny,
just the
Kenny Gibbs is watching. Kenny, weren't you just out here? What are you doing, man? He missed this Jaeger bomb.
Plates for them. She's talking up that coconut shrimp. There you go.
This coconut shrimp, let me tell you what,
The fried pickle.
battered to perfection.
Today's special catch of the day.
These fried pickles.
It's fried pickles, fresh from the ocean.
They were slow moving.
Yeah. See.
And I'm fickle about my pickles.
Tickle, tickle. Okay.
All right, and we're back.
What are we?
Brought to you by Kosher Dills.
Paul, what were we talking about before Billy B bust in here?
You're taking your show live on the road on a big tour bus.
The Cadillac.
Well, that wasn't me. That must have been Billy B.
All right, we'll switch. So you've got 4 albums out,
I do.
right? So,
I've only got one of them. I got the other three. You
You
slacking.
cheap bastard.
Slacker.
So you've talked about each of your albums with specific things in your life, from your first one, Welcome to Hollywood. I think I saw your sister had interviewed you, asked you some questions about that, right?
She turned the tables on me.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right. Asking you about how that was at a point in time you were going out to Hollywood, or you were going to be making it big. I think was what you were looking to do.
Yep.
And then all the way to Once Upon a Bottle of Rum.
Indeed.
Okay. So from those years, how did your style change, or your obviously your experiences, right? Because you've gone through 10 years at least worth of the cruise stuff.
Oh, sure.
And all your other things as well. So each one, just kind of, each album, a description of kind of where you were at, what you were feeling at the time when you wrote the material for each one.
Sure. Well, most of the records were. I never sat down and wrote a record. It was always a collection of songs that I had been writing over a period of time. So Welcome to Hollywood was really a kind of my angsty teenage life up until my early 20s, and it was all about being famous and heartbreak and bad relationships and basically all that kind of stuff. And I would say it was more like kind of modeled after like a John Mayer, or a little edgier kind of feel for that in the sound. But yeah, the songs were very, very involved in that age time, that age group that I was in, and I listened back and I was like, I really had no idea what I was doing in my life at this point.
That was like, what, 6-7 months ago?
It was, truly. Continue, it's a trend. So next record, I had done all my cruise ships and written songs throughout that whole time. And when I got home, I had nothing but time, tons of money in the bank, and nothing to do because I had nothing. All I had was my recording setup that I bought while I was on the ship, and it got delivered to my house, and somebody put it inside for me. So it was like Christmas when I got home from cruise ships. I had stacks of gear and things that I'd bought. So anyway, set it all up and started recording. Recorded Songs About You and Every Other Girl. And there were some songs about cruise ships, but then there was other songs. It was mostly about girls. Songs About You and Every Other Girl. And in my opinion, it was probably one of my better produced records. I thought it's one of the ones I'm the most proud of.
And you recorded that locally? All of them?
All was recorded in my own studio.
Okay.
All my records. Which is why they didn't sell very many
Billy B.
copies.
Brock Studios?
Billy B. Brock Studios. But yeah, the next record that came out was Once Upon a Bottle of Rum, and that was really more about my experiences at sea and songs I had been currently writing post cruise ship.
Right.
So you have music from my childhood, or kid stuff, and then you have Once Upon a Bottle of Rum, which is almost like a Hemingway type.
That's such a great name for an album.
Is
Right?
it?
I have to say there was probably some Code Rum inspiration. In fact, on the cover of that record,
Yes.
buried in the sand, is a bottle of Code Rum key lime,
Which we dug up.
which we dug up and drank. So yeah, and there's one of the title track is kind of an introspective of the whole journey, and the catch is it all happened once upon a bottle of rum. For better or for worse, most of the decisions I made in my life was in a glass of ice.
Right. Is this time when your mom had passed away? Or
Yeah,
is it-
she had
okay.
passed away. Thankfully, she got to hear a lot of the material for the Songs About You record. So I would, she was sick, and we would go to the doctor all the time. I was the guy because I didn't have anything to do but to tend to her. So we would drive to Miami, to the Cancer Institute, and I'd always sit there and play songs on repeat and be like, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? So I'm very fortunate that she was able to hear a lot of the music that became Songs About You and Every Other Girl. But Once Upon a Bottle of Rum, yeah, there's a lot in there that, I feel like it's a nice package. Now I don't know what to do because I feel like that was my send-off. So now I'm just a radio host. I'm a radio host hosting radio shows.
You got a great radio voice.
Thank you very much, Chris Spinner.
Some have a face for radio.
I have a face for radio and for the blind.
So speaking of that last album there, Once Upon
a Bottle of Rum.
Yeah,
Let's do another shot.
Speaking of rum.
Yeah, speaking of rum, so the gentleman next to you there is. So where did you guys get your? How did you guys meet up?
Band camp.
Is there a flute involved?
Remember that one time at band camp?
I do remember that one.
Relationships happen, man.
I think
Band
so.
camp.
That's right.
It's amazing.
I met Johnny Ringo. I was.
I think it's more like probably to me. I think it's more like a church camp. I think that's what I'm thinking. Really,
Definitely. Hallelujah. It's funny. We were actually just talking about that weekend that we met, and I was on a vacation from a cruise ship contract.
You had spent one of those paychecks that weekend too.
I did. So, our buddy Travis Suit used to throw these huge parties called Tiki Bash. So this was like a sidebar of that, where he invited all the people that were involved in the Tiki Bashes.
We call it Tiki Bash Throwback.
Tiki Bash Throwback. So it was all kind of the people that did work and were
loyal to the Tiki Bash thing.
So it was a much smaller event, more intimate. We rented out a whole resort in Isla Mirada, right?
Key Largo. Sunset Cove.
Sunset. Oh boy, I'm banned from there, by the way, after this weekend. True story. I'm banned from a few spots down in Key Largo.
They're still signing the petition, so don't give up hope yet.
Fair enough.
We will have Brad back for another podcast episode of all the places he's been banned from.
I don't know if you got enough time, mate. You get a bigger SD card. Anyway.
I don't know if you have enough bandwidth.
So, Ringo, while I was at sea, Ringo had become more involved in the Tiki Bash events.
Okay.
This was pre-Code Rum. So this was the heyday of the Pirate Heads, which was a major social group that Ringo had founded. And so now Travis Suit was also launching a brand called Tropically Impaired. So now the events kind of turn and we're more focused on the Tropically Impaired brand. So Ringo had become involved. I was like, Travis reached out and he was like, hey, we're throwing this event. You have to be there because you're like one of the founding people. And I think he just wanted me there because he knows what kind of shit show I've been known to be. So I was like, cool, man. So I bought my ticket. I called my brother. I was like, you need to take off this date because we're going down to the Keys. And so we rented our room. We got all our stuff together. And I got off the boat with like $8,000 cash in the bank. So I was like, I am, and another contract right on the heels. So I was like, I am ready to throw it down.
Did you rent a Mustang?
We did. We rented a Mustang, a convertible Mustang, beautiful
That's
car.
when you know you made it.
Drove it down there, never drove it again.
Nope.
The whole weekend, it just sat there.
Hey, you were being responsible.
I was being responsible. I didn't drive at all.
Yeah, we booked these vans, passenger vans that took us around all the bars in Key Largo.
Yeah, it was awesome. Well, so I met Ringo first night we're there. Super cool guy, obviously. I was
Is this the weekend where you lost a month?
This is the weekend I lost a month. Maybe more. I don't know.
He spent a month in Key Largo one weekend.
Yeah. That's how I met Ringo. Was like, this guy's awesome. Met his daughter and was like, she's so hot.
She's so tall.
And so tall. You know, I like them tall. And I was like, it was just a great time. And my brother was there, so throw that out there. So we stopped and we got rum, we got beers. The rum went the first day. I'm gonna tell you about this trip. Ringo and I, we became friends a little bit later on, like better friends.
Right.
This is when we met. This is where it all began. I went to bed by midnight every night. because I was so drunk I could not stand anymore.
He was so drunk, you watch him stagger, and everybody else was falling down. I'm not kidding you, dude.
Ringo and I were at a bar, and we were talking shit like we do. And, hey, Dustin from the Misfit Pirates.
What's up, bud?
What's up, man?
Oh,
and
yeah. Cool people hang out.
you know it's crazy now. So Ringo and I, we're standing at the bar, talking shit.
Not sure which bar.
And he reaches over with his big leg and he starts trying to trip me
It
up.
wasn't my leg, Brett.
And so I got him back, and we both landed we fall on the floor. They ask us to leave. So they ask us to leave, and 50 people got up and walked out of their bar.
Wow.
Right. So because we were there in huge groups, we had vans outside, and we were just cruising through through the area, just doing it. So we left, and everyone left. So that bar felt pretty stupid. I'm just
Crazy
kidding.
weekend. My daughter walks out to me doing a keg stand. We roasted a pig that night, didn't we?
Yeah, except we didn't roast it long enough. So this raw pig. Well, everybody came back, and everybody's picking at this raw pig.
At the end of the night, the pig took longer than we thought. So when we got back from our evening festivities and shenanigans, then it was like something out of The Walking Dead. They were like, there's people around just pulling at this pig because it was cooked now, and it was really good.
It was good.
We just
I don't
didn't get
remember
any
because
of
I was
it.
in bed by then.
And I did some whole chickens too. We did all that big grill we had there.
I don't remember any of
Yeah,
this.
we had a lot of food, but it wasn't.
I just
ready
remember
till
I
the end of the night.
destroyed the DJ's computer, and I felt really bad, so I gave him $1,000. True
Yep.
story.
This is in the keys?
Yeah, I was like dancing, throwing it down, and I had a drink in my hand, and I sloshed it all over
So
the
I
place.
had no computer I brought over to him, but it didn't go so well.
I did. I sloshed the drink all over the place. It went all over his laptop, and it went out. And I was like, I'm so sorry, man. Here's $1,000. This was back when I was rich, you guys.
Yeah, $8 grand, baby. Balling.
So to make a very long and interesting, we could have a whole other podcast on this weekend.
Just on the one day from that weekend, we can have a whole podcast.
Yes. I woke up back at my brother's house in Port St. Lucie, and was like, what happened to me?
Time
Went
travel.
from Friday to Monday morning.
What happened to me? And he was like, dude, couldn't even tell you. Look at my bank account. I had spent like $3,000.
That you owe the bank another.
Yeah, I mean, I had my, but yeah, like there was $3,000 gone out of my bank account. Let's flash forward. Johnny and I kept in contact over the years, and I remember I was sitting on a beach in Spain with my friend Michelle, and I got an email from Ringo saying that he was starting up a rum company. Like, I throw that in there? It's a true story. I was sitting on a beach in Spain.
That's right.
Ringo hits me up and he was like, starting a rum company. Here are some of the name ideas that I have. And it was like Pirate's Choice. It was like Code Rum was one of them. Pirate's Code. There was a bunch of them.
Brad Brock's new favorite rum of all time. It wouldn't fit on the label.
I was straight up, I was like,
He's down for that one.
Ringo's Rum should have been one of them. I don't know if it was. But, so, it was overwhelmingly Pirate's Code, right? I'll let Ringo explain why the pirate got dropped. But, so we started corresponding about the rum, and I was like, dude, I'm an ambassador of the world. You got to hook me up with a bunch of free stuff, and I'll bring it to the masses on Earth at my travels. That's how you get free rum, friends.
Do you have to say it exactly like that, though?
Yeah.
Exactly like that.
Exactly.
I
It's the only way it
will
works.
bring it over all my travels. And so after that, when I would come back from vacations, I would hit up Ringo. We'd go hang out. We'd talk about it. And it was very cool to see it happen. It go from concept to now I'm sipping Ringo's rum. You know, I'm sipping on this thing that we were talking about.
That
It
you
was
were a part of.
it was very cool to be at the very beginning, getting an email and then seeing what happened. And then once I left the ships completely and was home, you know, I poured myself into it. I was like, anything you need, you let me know. and we did tons of events. We worked together on all kinds of stuff, creating graphics together. It was awesome.
Yeah, but the main ingredient wasn't rum. The main ingredient was fun.
Yes,
There you go.
fun.
Because we're horrible spellers.
There's an FU in it.
Yes,
Yeah, that's it.
Stephanie, I'll have another cocktail.
Alrighty. Anybody else?
I'll take another mojito.
I'll do one more.
That's what they all say.
Are you doing a mojito?
Yes, please.
Are you done with both of these?
They are.
Oh, yeah, I'm good.
All of these?
Unless they want some dressing with that.
There you go.
Misfit Pirates in the house.
So yeah, Ringo and I have been working together ever since
Join in, man?
on Code Rum things.
Events.
We've been working together on events and everything in between. So
Right.
it's one of my best friends on earth now, which is great because look at this stud.
That's why you guys got the love seat. And
He's
we got
tall
the-
and handsome.
That's it. Mic drop.
They said it was going to be windy today.
Cell phone drop.
They said that wind was going to be blowing. Blowing ass wind. Up in here. Should I rock that character on the podcast next week?
You should fucking do it.
Okay.
Dude, have him
But do
announce
the
the
whole
show.
podcast that way.
No, you should have a segment. That's it. This should
Right.
be-
Coming
start
up, our
off with a
next
segment.
guest, and you be the guest.
Yes.
Billy B. Brock.
Yeah,
Reported
interview-
live.
Yeah, interview yourself.
Yep.
There you go.
That'd be cool. That'd be
That
cool.
would be awesome, dude.
And you have different cameras.
And you can tell Billy Rock, you're really a good-looking guy. You tell him that and have him respond.
Of course. Anyway. So yeah, that's the history of Johnny Ringo and Brad Brock. And many, many things in between.
Yes.
Yeah, I think there's a lot more stories we've got here
A lot
than
of
just
unmentionable stuff.
Tremendous. You should
Yes.
probably do a singular podcast with just Johnny Ringo because he's a drummer.
But not a very good one, but I'm very theatrical.
There you
He's
go.
got the moves.
Thank you, Jupiter, Floor Me Love, and see you next tour tonight. That's all I got.
That's good drum voice. That's
you.
good drummer voice.
Thank you. Practice on the way here.
And what? Me, la, 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 la,
No,
la.
I'd love to, Johnny, have you on a separate, maybe kind of focus around the distillery
rum
or
and
the
other
rum and
piratical
that's
shenanigans. That would
'cause
be awesome.
There's a lot that I've started off the podcast, and the first couple of guests were, where's the drummers? I had a couple of friends, musicians, and then it was okay, well, the drummers, and then now it's starting to become, well, where's the rum?
Right.
And the rum's kind of been slowly a little bit dialed back because if you go to listen to episode 2, we basically started off the podcast of trying to be connoisseurs and let's have this and let's try and talk about it and being all sophisticated.
Right.
And ended up finishing the bottle, and there was a lot of fucking editing that I have to do.
lot of
in
pinkies
that.
up.
Yeah. It's like, all right, 4 hours of audio recording. God, there's a lot I have to cut out, and there's a train wreck. So I don't know. This has been a little challenging podcast, I know. So
I can't wait to see how much you have to edit on this one.
There's a part of dance. I hope you dance on the table he lives in. Because that was good.
So all right. So Brad Brock has an app. So there's an app for that.
There's an app for that.
So where, why, explain, how'd you come up with that? I mean, not many musicians have their own app, right?
So it started originally the first track on my Once Upon a Bottle of Rum album is called Yacht Pub, and it's about a mythical bar where it's just
We've all been to
it's
it.
all fun. There's pirates. It's basically a song about the sneaky tiki, but it's called the Yacht Pub, and so I had this really clever idea because I see like restaurants and bars and everybody's doing these points reward system, right? So it's like, why can't musicians have something like that, where you come to my show and you get a points reward? So I started the Yacht Pub Points app. And I got a developer involved, and we put together this whole app where you would come to the show, you would show me your app, I would scan you in, and you would get points that you could redeem for free merch or for you earn points and it got you up through a tier system to where so you'd be like in the elite fan club, whatever. Really cool idea. I hope somebody takes it and excels with it. So much work, a tremendous amount of work, and I have my irons in a lot of fires, so it was too much for me to bite off and chew. So I ended up rebranding the app back to the Brad Brock Music app, and I'll probably reintroduce the points reward system back in eventually.
Because it truly is a great concept.
It was cool, and people were eating it up, but it was just too much for me by myself to handle.
Right.
Plus everything else. So I scaled it back to my brand. Plus it's a whole other brand to build. And I was still building my own brand at the time. So I was like, okay, let me bring it back. Let me reorganize. And so now I have the Brad Brock Music app. And it's a really cool way to interact with people that come to my shows or listen to what I do without it being conventional social media, because everybody hates Facebook and everybody hates everything right now. So this is a way for you to opt into push notifications. It's a great way to have it on your phone and go and see where I'm playing. You can log in and watch our podcasts live straight through the app. We have live radio, so it's my favorite radio, like internet radio stations. You can go and pick them, and there's different moods and whatever, so all kinds of fun stuff.
So do you ever think about possibly, I don't know if the right word, licensing, or I don't know how much can be actually patent, copyright, etc. But do you ever think about maybe trying to license the idea to others now that you build that foundation? Is build a very similar. I mean, again, you said you had many irons in the fire, which I think is very important, right? Because you have one iron and that iron goes out.
Yeah.
Right. And that's something that, and I've talked before on the previous podcast, is maybe it's something that you could probably, again.
So I consider myself more of a consultant because I have no qualms about going and trying something and giving it a shot and failing and learning from that. But I don't think everyone has to go and fail. So if I can figure something out and then say, hey, Chris Springer, an app would do you good, but don't do this because it doesn't work. It's so in that way, I'm not interested in licensing a particular idea, but I have no problems with people saying, hey, what would you charge to teach me how to do this? And I would say, here we are, or that's a potential business opportunity for me to build something like that, some sort of consulting situation. So no, I wouldn't license that idea because I'm sure somebody already has dibs on that. And I can't honestly say I was incredibly successful with the op-up points, but I don't think I gave it the full chance that it was. And maybe if I had started it under instead of trying to brand something new or that people were unfamiliar with, it would have been different. But you live and learn, and now I have an app.
No, I think that's actually to your point. It's a consulting is probably a better way to kind of pursue it. And I think what you're doing with the podcast, as you said, trying to support local, other musicians in the area, local products in South Florida, and again, everyone's, I hate to say the clichéness of the COVID, we're all in it together, right?
Yeah, sure.
And actually, I totally forgot. That was actually one of the things that I forgot to talk about was, it's been unfortunately a ongoing topic, and every episode after episode 2, because that happened in March, and we started talking about the impact of COVID.
Right.
So, I guess real quick, and I guess for both Brad and Chris, how has COVID impacted you guys, right? Because that's something I'm always fascinated to kind of understand the what people are going through, especially musicians, especially like in Nashville, right? Nashville, they shut that whole town down. All those musicians.
In June, I was there.
and there's nothing. That's their livelihood. That's how they make. You guys are full-time musicians. This is.
Well, we didn't work for what, like a couple months or so.
Yeah. Well, I would
Luckily, to our benefit, I guess, we're solo musicians, and so life's probably a little easier right now for people like us versus. I've got a couple of friends that are maybe on like the larger event side of things, and they're still not back in the full swing yet.
Yeah, I would say we're very fortunate because Chris and I are both entertainers on the Treasure Coast, like in the Tri-County, Martin, St. Lucie, Indian River area. And when they kind of got back to business, it was very quick, and they were immediately asking entertainers to come back and perform for their guests. So we were very fortunate in that particular area as solo entertainers.
Right, because that's what they were asking for, solo artists.
Yeah, to
maybe
be able
duos at the most.
Exactly. And
A
so
trio or something like that as well.
We got
but yeah, full
straight
band.
back to work
Full bands are out.
very quickly.
Right.
Those who wanted to go back to work. There were some that were still concerned, and rightfully so. And I would never knock anybody who, like, it's uncharted territory. People reserve the right to live their lives the way that they choose. Right. But the people that wanted to go back to work, go back to performing, Chris and I, for example, like, it was great. I was chomping at the bit, and I was very fortunate through most of it I generally have my ducks in a row, business-wise. So, I was able to get the unemployment and the pandemic unemployment that was offered by the federal government. That all came very quickly and timely, and so my house never skipped a beat, really. So we were very fortunate in that, to be able to have that and be set up in a way that we didn't get to miss much of anything. Right. Not everybody was so fortunate.
Yeah, and that's tough. Those that weren't so fortunate.
So for me, the biggest impact was the halt of momentum and the things that I was doing. Things I was promoting, the podcast in general. That for me was the biggest impact. Was that all came to a stop. People had their attention on other things, and we still proceeded to create content through all of it. Right. And that was our commitment. We made that commitment to do that, and it was kind of solace as well, because it gave me something to get up and work on.
Right.
So.
No, that's pretty.
What's that guy's name that did that? He started the social distancing.
Ricky
Wolf or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Shout out to
Ricky, because that was cool, man. I did a couple of his shows, and he's a cool guy. I'm actually I'm working on getting him on our podcast.
Oh, nice.
To talk about that, because that was very cool, and he was one of the first persons that I saw doing that. And then and then
like
obviously everyone.
Right. Like there were people. I thought it was Florida, but it was
Everywhere.
Yeah, it went national. Everybody was looking for entertainment somewhere else at this time.
Right.
Because nothing was happening anywhere.
You couldn't go outside. And what I found interesting was during this time period is if you were some sort of performer, entertainer, creator of something, audio or visual, it a lot of you saw TV shows now, same thing. They're shooting it from their iPhone in their kitchen, food cooking shows, right? Now all of a sudden these big shows, networks, are coming down where
they're down to the summit. They're slumming it down with us.
Yeah, right. So you're almost like those that are in that realm already.
Right.
Have already been doing it for a while in that capacity, and probably still creating a better, because it's not comfortable, or they're used to some of these big shows.
They're not. It's not usual business for them.
Right, and I think even like these live shows, right, is all the streaming, video, all this stuff. It's nothing new. We did not do anything new. We just finally got forced.
Imagine if they had to.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
that was the thing.
I
was leveled the playing ground.
It was so interesting for me because we were on the Jams and Cocktails podcast. We were kind of ahead of the curve because we were already doing multicam live streaming, you know, before, and with you know, live audio ready to rock and roll well before this happened.
Right.
So when it hit, I was like, well, I'm going to one-up everybody. I'm going to have multiple cams, multiple angles that are going to go in and out of one another. And
we talked about, like,
I was like, I got this on lock.
You know,
I just called Brad up. Hey man, can I come on your show today?
you know, where it was very difficult to find webcams and all that stuff back in early summer, late spring, because
Oh my God, yeah.
it was like go to Amazon and try to order a decent webcam and you know, forget it. And but yeah, because everyone was forced
It's
to
true.
going to have
Yeah,
ship.
webcams, like high-end webcams that I was working with were like $80.
You said that.
Yeah, and then I look, you know, I look during the lockdown, and they were like $350. I was
Yeah.
like, this is wild, man. But
It's like gas in a hurricane.
exactly.
So yeah, so
Like
you still
toilet
got
paper in the pandemic.
so you still have
Who
the
the
app.
hell saw that
Is
one
it
coming?
available
I
iOS
did.
and Android?
Both iOS and Android, and it's
Okay.
completely free,
Can I
and
get on
always
my-
will be.
Can I get on my
So long-
BlackBerry?
What's that?
Can I get on my BlackBerry?
You probably could. I don't know how well it's going to run. If I could still have my BlackBerry, I would. Believe me. True story. I only gave it up because they forced me to give it up.
So, all right. So it looks like you've got your. Oh, where'd it go? Oh, here it is. So.
Dun,
here it
dun, 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 dun. No, I'm just kidding.
Did you write that song?
I did. Me and John Williams.
Oh,
We wrote that song together.
was that before you were born?
No. I'm 153 years old.
Oh, you're like Yoda.
Dude, you look great, bro.
Thank
Yoda,
you.
Yoda Brock.
My secret is Code Rum Key Lime.
There you go. So your hot sauce.
My hot sauce.
Again, how'd you come up? How'd you get involved? You in the kitchen one night?
You know what's really funny is I might have to make a text message at some point, because Tahiti Joe, who is the proprietor or the maker of the hot sauce, was supposed to meet me at Square Grouper for my gig tonight that got canceled.
Uh-oh.
To
I'll
give
text
me
him.
to give me another case. Could you tell him to come here instead?
Yes.
You're amazing.
All right, look at
So
us,
with
man.
more hot pub
You-
hot sauce.
You got all your you know, brand guys hitting up the podcast, huh?
Yeah,
Well, thank you.
I put my face on everything. I think it's important. For better or for worse.
So if somebody came up with like the Penn's diapers and they wanted Brad Brock, the Penn's diapers.
I put my face on it. Not in it. I wouldn't put my face in it, but I put my face on it. So Hot Pup Hot Sauce. Tahiti Joe and I were working an event with Ringo up in Flagler Beach, a pirate festival. And Tahiti Joe had been a friend of mine for a long time at that point, and he had his little setup, and we were talking, and I was like, it'd be really cool if I had my own hot sauce. And he's like, I could do that. He's like, I do custom labels, whatever. And I was like, really? So I stayed in touch with him throughout that and came up with the label and called it Hot Pub Hot Sauce to correspond with the Once Upon a Bottle of Rum album, which the first track is Yacht Pub. Hot Pub Hot Sauce. And it's yeah, and so it was another cool thing to have on my merch table at the shows.
Very cool. So we try some later when we get tacos.
Absolutely.
All right.
It's the best.
All right. So if you're listening or if you're still on Facebook, we're gonna go to a local taco place here afterwards. Whenever the hell we wrap up.
Not likely soon. No, I'm kidding.
So
Dropped your stick.
So he came up with the flavor and the style and all that.
So yeah, nobody wants to taste a hot sauce that I would come up with.
I would.
Well, the fact of the matter is,
Just to say I did.
Tahiti Joe is a master of his craft, and so I had a flavor profile of his that I really, really enjoyed, and basically he just bottled that for me. I won't tell you what it is because I don't want to give away my secrets.
The secret sauce.
The secret sauce.
My secret sauce. But it is 100% Tahiti Joe recipe, and he, like I said, he's the master
He's
of
been
his
doing it
craft.
for 20 plus
So
years.
I wouldn't trust anybody better to bottle a great hot sauce than him. So I just slapped my face on it and my name. So buy my sauce.
It looks just like him.
I'm probably wearing the same glasses. I don't go through many looks changes these days.
So you also mentioned that was good to use in your pirate.
The Bloody Pirate
The
cocktail,
Bloody
which is
Pirate.
our version of a Bloody Mary with our key lime rum instead of vodka.
Absolutely.
Excellent.
It's
It
very
kicks it up
good.
a notch.
Yeah, I like spicy Bloody Marys and Bloody Pirates, so
That's where to go
caliente.
with. Now you still doing the Sunday?
Sunday Bloody
What,
Sunday
Sundays
at
up
Sneaky
at the-
Tiki?
yeah.
Yep, first Sunday of each month. And the
Just getting
Pirates,
kicked
the
back up
Misfit
again?
Pirates come out. Dustin from the Misfit Pirates is hanging with us here. Yep, they come out and hang out with us. Ringo's out there most of the time.
As often as I can be.
And you know, he's out there with rum samples. He's out there with rum cake samples. And Ringo also has his own line of hot sauces that I was fortunate enough to help design the labels for.
You basically designed the labels for my house.
Totally fun, yeah. So that was awesome. My little side hustle is graphic art.
He's very good at it. And let's give us out to the Twisted Tuna where we're at right now,
Yes.
today. The new
Yes,
Twisted Tuna
the
in
new
Jupiter,
Twisted
Florida.
Tuna in
Twisted
Jupiter.
Jupiter.
Just
Right.
opened the old Sugarcane Island Bistro. It's awesome here. They
It's
put
amazing.
a year and 4 months worth of work into this place. Renovating
Yeah.
it, gutting it. It's a whole new place. So you guys got to come out. To
It's
the
awesome.
New
I'm
Twisted
glad
Tuna
we
Jupiter.
chose this spot.
Yeah.
Kenny Rochelle, the owners. I've known them for many, many years. But yeah, but the first Sunday of every month, Sneaky Tiki, getting that crank back up again.
Absolutely.
That's good.
It's always a good time.
Yep.
When we show up anywhere, it's always a good time.
All right, well, we're exactly
Except
right
that
now.
one time.
Yeah,
at
it's
church
happening right
when we got
now.
invited to
This
church.
this 1 hour podcast is going to be 6 hours.
It's like a time. It's like a time.
It's getting there,
Time
dude.
slows down.
Yeah, it's definitely a time warp.
Yeah.
Let's do the time warp again.
All right. So
Time
you
slows down when you're drinking
So you
rum.
ready for the rapid five?
Oh no!
All right. So
I've
how?
been dreading it
Yeah.
because we do something like this on our own podcast called the Lipton Tea. Inside the Lipton Tea.
My favorite phase of the podcast for sure.
So I
That and name that tune.
it's always my privilege to put other people on the spot. So I feel like I'm on the other side of it now.
Because have you been on other podcasts before, or?
No, this is my first time.
Oh, you're virgin.
I'm a virgin on this
Oh,
side, except for
wow.
when my sister interviewed me that day, and that was just as nerve-wracking.
Yeah, you did. I watched the video last night while I was doing all my prep here to try to find any good stuff on
Your
you.
rum
I thought she was just
Yeah.
gonna like riff off the top of her head, and she busted out a tablet with like questions
Oh
listed.
no,
ready
her
to
Chromebook.
roll.
Remember, she corrected you.
Oh yeah, it was a Chromebook. You're right.
He
She
did
did
his
correct.
homework.
Yeah, that's all right. See.
She did correct me. All right, man. Shoot, let's do this rapid
All right.
fire.
So here's how this is going to work. Okay. So you have 5. I'm going to ask a question. You've got 5 seconds to give me the answer, and then we'll go through all 5 questions, and then we'll come back around to delve a little further into the answer about the question. Does that make sense?
Should we do more Jaeger bombs? No, I'm just kidding. I'm
Oh,
kidding.
yeah, yeah,
For
you-
the love of God.
No, he's not.
Do you got to tap further?
Saving that.
He's just waiting for one of us to go, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
That's all he's
Right.
waiting for.
Do you want to tap further into your
My lizard brain.
yes.
Let me-
Yes.
You in there? There ain't nothing in there.
It's a head and a tail.
All right, so here we go. This should be probably pretty easy, the first one, right?
Okay.
Okay. Would you do a stint on a cruise ship again?
Yes.
All right.
Ooh, that was quick.
okay.
Yes, I would.
All right. Number 2. What's your go-to local beach?
Jensen Beach, right in the roundabout
All right. All right.
there.
All right.
Over the thing.
The dirt side or
Dirt
the
side.
paved
Dirt side. Come on, man. I don't want nobody to see.
know. The locals
That's right.
Yeah, no, you go to the dirt side. We'll delve into that.
All right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you're getting ahead. All right. Here's probably going to be a tough one.
Johnny Ringo. Oh,
You're
wait,
close, Johnny. You're close. All right. Ready?
Is that the answer or is that the question?
Which flavor? Spiced, key lime, mango tango, silver, or cinnamon?
Key lime.
That was easy.
Ooh, okay.
That's
All
an
right.
easy one.
All right. Which of your children/albums is your favorite?
Songs about you and every other girl.
All right. And what song gets you your biggest tip in the tip bucket?
How many seconds do I have?
It's
Always
tequila.
Tennessee whiskey.
Tennessee whiskey.
More pirates?
She
So-
can't
side-
hear. She couldn't hear us, so she showed up.
That's right.
Okay,
This is
so that was
Camille.
All right.
that was the rapid five.
All right. So it was all right. Wasn't too bad.
That wasn't too bad. Those
Yeah.
were very very
Bread centric.
tailored questions
Yes.
to me, and so that's very. I never do that to my guests.
So,
They get the same questions that everyone else gets. So,
the first one about the cruise ship.
okay,
Right. So you wouldn't do it again, or
I would do it
you would
again.
have get in. Right.
I would. It may be in a different capacity. I don't know if I would go back out for 4 months.
I was gonna say,
4
would you
to
do it
6
as long?
months. I feel like I'm outgrown that a little bit.
Right.
But there are. Shut up,
No,
Gringo.
I'm not touching that one.
But there are plenty of opportunities to go on as guest entertainer or
Right.
short-term things. I
I'm
would love
not
to do
touching
it
that
again.
one either.
It was a great experience. I feel like we did a pirate cruise last year,
Which was a blast.
and that was nostalgic because I had not been on a cruise ship
That's the last.
since I left cruise ships. So to be on a ship again, even just for the weekend.
you didn't have to perform either, did you?
I know, but it was just
You were on
so.
standby.
I was trying to find the crew bar. I was like, where's the crew bar at? It was a ton of fun.
And they had cold rum on the ship,
yeah, they
made it
did.
more fun.
Oh.
So
nice.
I would do it again
So,
if the circumstances were right.
so in your right, because you're in a different place in your life, right? You're
way
very
different,
different,
yeah.
right? You know, you're a little bit more or I don't want to say settled, but you know,
Now settled's good.
Yeah.
I'm quite content and happy.
would you-
Never.
how would Jordan feel?
She'd be like, okay, so when are we going?
There you go. Yeah.
And I'd be like, whenever you're ready.
That was one of the questions that I asked you because I was picking your brain about that, and that was one of the things that I was like, well, could Sam, like, if I worked on a cruise ship,
Yeah.
could Sam actually come?
She could.
Yeah.
Yeah, for free. You know, there've been some cases where like spouses would like
So they're
pick
gonna
up side
pay
jobs
us.
Yeah.
on the.
Right.
They would pick up side jobs like in the shops or on the ship. Like it's a whole community, man. Like it's a little nation on those boats. You wheel and deal and do whatever you want.
That sounds like a
Don't
blast.
quote
There
me
you go.
on
You
that.
should do it, man.
You can't. You
Yeah.
can't believe a goddamn thing that come down and didn't melt. You know what I'm saying?
All right, the beach.
Yeah, locals know you park in the dirt because the asphalt's hot as hell when you're trying to walk out to your car, and nobody wears shoes in Florida. Don't let them fool you.
All right. You're not going to give any specific location to the non-locals show up, right?
I'm just gonna say the dirt side.
All right. So figure it out.
They'll
If
figure
you
it out.
know, then
Yeah.
you know.
If you know, you know.
All right. So out of the 5 other flavors, why key lime?
Key lime, in my opinion, is the most versatile as a flavored rum. The silver rum is obviously the most versatile for anything.
But you use the key lime for the Bloody Mary, right?
Key lime for the Bloody Mary. It makes
Mojitos.
great mojitos. It makes great rum and cokes because you don't have to squeeze a lime in it.
It's good on cereal.
Mojitos. Did we say that already? Is that a site? It
The-
mixes good with ginger
Like
beer.
the Island Mule, the Moscow Mule, we do the Island Mule.
Yeah.
Okay.
With a key lime and ginger beer.
Yeah. It's just, to me, it's the most versatile of the
Key lime
flavors.
coladas, key lime pie martinis.
it's-
I could go on and on and
Anywhere
on.
you use
That's
rum
another
and then
show.
put lime, you don't need the lime.
No
Right.
knife,
It's just
no
a-
lime, no problem.
There
No
you go.
problem.
All right.
It's really
There
good.
you go.
Song.
Rum punches, you name it. It's the most versatile. My next favorite.
And it's just straight on the rocks. By
Yeah.
itself.
Yeah. The next one is the most interesting flavor, I would say, is the cinnamon rum, because you just don't find that anywhere.
Right.
I feel like I'm stopping by Total Wine on the way home.
I think it's
Yeah.
good. It's the only cinnamon rum on the market.
That's it, man. And it's interesting, you know. It's where you got your fireballs that are whiskey for one, but taste kind of like they just have this very like medicine taste. This very I don't know.
Yeah.
Code rum is.
mean like
I
Jaeger
feel like
bombs?
it's a little bit lighter, and it has more of a candy taste, like a red hot
Right.
candy taste.
Right, because you just recently had a shot of the week a couple weeks ago, right? Where you tried both,
Oh yeah.
right?
That was Ricky from Social Distance Fest. he recommended a thing called the what was it called? So the ball washer.
Ball washer.
And it was it
Sounds
called
like a dangerous shot.
Yeah, it called for a few ingredients. It called for like peach schnapps. It called for Fireball and one other.
Golfer?
Oh, I think I
don't
saw
know.
that one, man.
But one other one I can't think of. But it was easily like we transplanted it with Code Rum cinnamon because we're pirates and we pillaged. And so yeah, and it was in both of the shots. We tried both of them because why not have two shots when you know when you can. So we had both, and both were interesting. But I feel like I liked the Code Rum one better.
Yeah.
Might be biased, but I thought it was actually better.
So your albums, why'd you pick that one as your?
That one
As your
was the
child.
longest it took to write. There was it took the longest to write, and it was the record that I had the most available time to spend on recording.
Right.
There's been no other part in my life where I was less busy than I was over recording that record. So I felt like I gave it the time it deserved. It's so polished and nice to listen to, and the songs are legit. Like they all mean something to me personally. There was nothing like trying to fit any kind of genre or fit any kind of niche. Because Once Upon a Bottle of Rum, don't get it twisted, I was trying to fit the trop rock niche to sell to that kind of crowd, that tiki bar crowd, so that when I played tiki bars, I could sell a record that they could listen to and be like, yeah, I was just at a tiki bar. This Songs About You was a record that was completely unadulterated, and
What did you do for the other? I've not heard this specific album.
Welcome to Hollywood.
No. Songs
Songs
about
About You?
Yeah.
Sounds like you got to get on Spotify.
Song about
Give a
you
little
and
listen
every
to
other
old
girl?
Brad Brock on
Wait,
Spotify.
Get them some streaming.
What song is it? Okay, what album is that song?
Songs About You
I Don't Want to Dance
and
With
Every
You?
Other Girl.
Is that the one?
Yes, sir.
I do have that album.
You do have that.
That
Album.
song always gets stuck in my head.
I played everything.
You did?
Yes, sir.
A man
Yes, I
of
did.
many talents, dude.
Yes.
Truly a one-man band.
One man band.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Love you, Chris.
He's
Love you,
awesome.
man.
He's an awesome dude.
Hey,
Did that blow your mind?
do you want on that love seat?
Huh?
You want on that?
You want to get in here in this love seat?
I want to scoot
You want to join this bromance?
So yeah,
Chris sandwich.
that's it. I felt like that was the record I had the most time to spend on.
What's the Chris
I
of
was
the day?
only appreciating
The Chris sandwich.
I know.
his talent, man.
Bromance.
Thanks for
Chris
making it weird.
sandwich.
Appreciate you.
Thanks, Brilliant.
Yeah, man.
Chris sandwich.
I love you too.
Yeah. I tried to be serious and you fucked it all up.
Yeah.
All right, and the last one, the Tennessee whiskey tip. Do you remember what it was? How much?
Well, because I always say I don't know it. Always. When they start pulling out the big bucks, I
I'll
go.
give it a try.
I'll be
I'm
like,
not doing
oh,
my best.
let me just look up the lyrics
Yeah.
on my iPad real quick, and then I do it, and it's fine.
Wow, this
biggest
guy
tip on
really
that
knows
was
it just for
probably,
learning on the spot.
I think I got a 50 spot straight away. That was the biggest Tennessee whiskey tip. It's like, I'd like to do that. Like songs I definitely know I know.
We gave $100
I
tonight. Would you do it
I
right
pretend
now?
I don't know. I'll do another one.
You give $100 for you do Tennessee whiskey
sure.
tonight?
Yeah, sure. Threaten me with a good time. I was supposed to
take
be
an ice
playing a
with it.
gig right now. Anyway,
Threaten me with a gig.
so yeah, I think I got a
Don't
50
threaten me
spot
with
for
a
that
gig
song.
time.
Nice. All right. So, what gigs you got coming up here besides tonight?
Well, tonight didn't happen. My next gig is hosting the Jams and Cocktails live podcast Wednesday night. I imagine this probably won't be up before then, so never mind. But every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, we broadcast live with guests ranging from musicians to rum makers to artists, venue owners, that anybody that really supports our entertainment scene on the Treasure Coast and beyond. We like to feature them. We like to give them some time to talk because we always see them for what they are, and we want to. The whole mandate of our show is to
dig just beneath the surface. and
Yeah, well,
get a little
I would
deeper.
love to go deeper, but you only got so much.
You got
What's
any
the next one?
dates coming up at the new Twisted Tuna?
I've been in talks with Kenny from Twisted Tuna here
Gotta get you in here.
to do a show here.
Kenny,
a
when you
show.
watch this, get him in here.
Yeah. So
Sooner than later.
we're gonna do that. But yeah, the mandate is to give a platform and give an opportunity for these artists that you get to see at your local favorite watering holes and places where you get your 15 minutes to talk to them while they're trying to smoke a cigarette or take a drink or take a leak. Whatever, you get this very small opportunity to chat with these people that entertain you night after night. This is their time to tell their story, play what they feel like playing, have some drinks cut loose, and we get to harass them a little bit on the show. And I feel like it's a cool platform that isn't the corner bar. And our whole idea is to make these people as comfortable as possible and just have a good time. No pressure,
Yeah, I really dig this new segment you just started up there with the song writing on the fly.
Kevin
Yeah.
McLaughlin.
Right.
That's his brainchild. I give all the credit to him. He's awesome. He'll sit there when he's on our panel. He'll write notes all night about all the bullshit we talk about, and then he'll sit there with his guitar and he'll write a little song
Write
about
that
it.
down.
That's awesome.
Write that down. Kevin's a great. Chris, I wish I could have Chris every week on the show. A great personality, a cool voice to hear in your head when you're listening to the shows. Kevin the same. Cool personality, a unique voice. And when you listen to podcasts audio only, like you start to pick it out, like these different voices that you hear come through, they have their own personality. And so we have this little group that is recurring on our show, and I like it. So my goal is to be able to pay them to quit their jobs and just come and be on my show 100% of the time.
Not bad.
5 days a week.
Man, I like my job. I like my job.
No, man, I'm going to take you away from
Everyone
your
has a price, Chris.
You gotta do a greatest hits show and have them all
job.
on the show at the
$1
same
million.
time.
Yes.
But dude, I will say this, man. I love what you're doing. I just met you today, but I love what you're doing.
Thank you very much.
And Paul, obviously we've had many conversations on this, man. I love the idea that I can listen in and I can hear, familiar voices, and things that we can all relate to, just here on the local level. So
It's cool.
thank you
Very
guys
cool.
for putting out this content.
Oh, man, thanks for being a part of it. And Paul, I'm so glad that Chris was the liaison between the two of us, because I think the whole concept of Drums and Rums is so tight. And I know we've been talking about putting an episode like this together, and I'm going to apologize straight away. You have so much editing to do ahead of you, buddy.
But
Our
Brad
sh-
will help you do it
Yeah.
if you need him.
Yeah.
help.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, what's your rate?
Wait a-
Teamwork makes the dream
Eh.
work.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. But it's cool because it's very interesting because, we work, Jams and Cocktails works on a very live platform. So it's really very minimal editing for me because we run the show straight through. There are times where I wish we had the opportunity to go back and do some massive editing whenever we have technical snappings
Right.
and things like that, because it happens. But what you're doing is awesome because you have the ability
Thank
to edit and make a very cool audio podcast that doesn't sound like a morning radio show like ours does. But that's our muse,
Yeah.
That's our model. So it's fun.
There's and I thank you, Brad, and thank you, Chris, for that, and again, I think if you have that show, you have that podcast where it's just so natural, where it's just well, I know we had a little bit of our technical difficulties and from what we could see on the video and whatnot, but it's supposed to be, hey, we're just hanging out, and it doesn't feel like it's like you're being interrogated. You're just hanging out and chatting, right?
There's
Right.
no push. It's just we're just
Right.
chilling, having some drinks.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Speaking of those
maybe
drinks,
to the
There she is. Good timing. So, anything else to, as you call it, shameless plugs, if I'm allowed to
shameless
use that
plugs.
term.
Yeah. Definitely check out Drums and Rums.
Yes.
Certainly
Thank you.
one of my favorite podcasts that isn't my own. Also check out Jams and Cocktails, JNC podcast, every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern on Facebook Live and YouTube. I feel like we're moving to YouTube. I feel like that's coming real soon.
It's inevitable.
I feel like it's going to be a complete jump. I feel like a lot of our usual live viewers are moving there. So yeah, tune into our little show. We love it. We're gonna have Paul on an upcoming episode because I'm gonna give it right back to you, mate.
Oh, yeah.
Oh boy.
Dude, I
wanna
want to
sit in on that
invite
night.
myself
We're gonna go
again
up
on
there. We're gonna
onto
go up
this
there for
one.
that night.
Of course. But that's it, really. Drink Code Rum. Come and check out the Twisted Tuna in Jupiter.
Yes.
It's a cool spot. Check out Chris Springer music.
Yeah.
That's it, man.
All right. Well, thank you. And again, yes, thank you for Twisted Tuna having us here. Take over their little lounge, looking out in the windy.
The VIP area.
The VIP.
Yeah,
Yes, right.
yeah,
We're,
yeah.
we've
Very
got our,
important
Out on the
pirates.
lanai here.
Yeah, the London. And also, and Johnny, you want a quick anything shout out there?
This show's about Brad, man. You know me, I do the rum thing and the rum cakes, but tonight's about Brad. I'm just glad to be here to support my buddy, man.
I've heard of
It's
these
my
rum
birthday.
cakes, man. I need to have one.
Did I just turn another year older?
You did, yeah.
Oh,
We'll
Lord.
next podcast,
Billy B.
we'll
Brown
do
turn
some-
another year older here.
We'll do some shots of code rum. We'll eat some code rum cakes.
All right.
Awesome.
Okay.
Dee, my baker, she is the best rum cakes you will ever have in your entire life.
True
Trust
story.
me.
Okay. Yeah.
She does it. They're
Absolutely
amazing.
true.
They make your tongue slap your brains out.
That's why I ain't got no
Seriously. So
brains.
we'll do that. That's the rum, but we'll get,
Yeah.
that's another
Here,
show.
here.
So,
But no, tonight's about Brad, man, and he's one of the best people I've ever
Yeah.
met in my entire life.
Yeah.
There's nothing he wouldn't do for you, and vice versa. He's awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome peeps.
Cheers.
no, I'm glad we finally got a chance to
Absolutely.
hook up and
Long
just
time coming.
seem things lined up, and you're down in the 561, and talked to this guy last night. Said, "Come on down. You got to sit in on this one because it's all your
Yeah,
fault."
I got a new best
That's right.
friend there too
That's
tonight,
right.
brother.
Yeah,
That's,
man.
that's what I'm talking about. Awesome.
So,
Good to meet a legend.
And you got to meet me too.
so
Y'all are crazy.
Yep. No, I appreciate it. So again, thanks to the guys here for sitting in and our little bit of our tomfoolery here on a Monday night. Great way to start the week, right? And don't forget to check
Best
out.
way to start a week.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
it.
That's it.
The only way to start a week.
And check out the drumsandrums.com. All of the socials there, Facebook, Instagram. I don't get too much. I got to work on my YouTube video stuff. I got a lot of content.
I just feel like people like YouTube better
yeah.
these days anyway.
So, all right. So this is Paul, where the backbeats meets the spirits. And again, guys, cheers.
Cheers. Keep
Great.
to the code.
Yeah.
Salud, keep to the
the
code. Cheers, Misfit Pirates.
Thanks, guys. Again, I want to thank Brad Brock for coming on Drums and Rums. Please follow and subscribe to his Jams and Cocktails podcast. Visit his website at bradbrock.com to check out his music and pick up some of his hot sauce. If you like what we're doing here at Drums and Rums, we have a Patreon link to help with setting up interviews and creating content that you find entertaining and interesting. Also, if you'd like to sponsor, advertise on the podcast, or if you want to come on as a guest to promote something related to the show, email me at info@drumsandrums.com. Lastly, please leave a rating or review over on iTunes or on your favorite podcast location to let me know you like the podcast, and then it also lets others know it's a podcast that they should listen to. Thanks again for listening, where the backbeats meet the spirits.